back to the show. It is the Vegas Take Sharp and Shapiro. Glad you could join us. It's not every day you get to talk to Rudy Rudiger. He's in the studio. Ken Thompson has him coming up at the top of the hour. It's one of my favorite movies, man. Rudy's one of my favorite movies of all time. Certainly one of my favorite sports movies. It's great. So Rudy actually lives here in Las Vegas, and he's a motivational speaker, and so he'll be coming up next. Always, you never know who's going to be walking into the studio, right? We had Bill Laimbeer earlier. We had Michael Avenatti on the show earlier this week. We have fun here at KDWN. It's always a good time. I do have a... Go ahead.
We've got Matt Berkey on Monday.
Yeah, Matt Berkey, a very, very famous poker player who plays, he's lost $500,000 pots in poker. It's ridiculous.
Many of them.
Yeah, it's insane.
He's one of I would say he's probably the smartest player
it's nuts.
In the world right now.
I do have a Michael Avenatti story that I want to share with all of you today. But before I do that, let's get back to the phones at 257-5396. Let's go to Marge. Marge, thanks for calling in. How are you, Marge?
Hey, what's up, Marge?
I'm good. Thank you, gentlemen.
Sure. What's on your mind?
Several points. I mean, this thing about Trump, that was very, very bad. As a leader of the country, he should have just ousted the guy right there and then, you know?
Mm-hmm. We all agree on that.
He should have led. Instead, he kind of egged it on.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And when you see things like that, I mean, it speaks to maybe some of the other things that are going on as far as leadership and example and everything else, too. You know?
I think it speaks to what he's willing to do to keep his fan base happy.
Yeah, because, he's...
And I like Donald Trump, obviously, but...
Yeah, but he I don't know, he tries to perform, and that's certainly not performing in my mind,
I agree, and these are the types of reasons why. And then when I have somebody like Danny Tarkanian on and I bring some of these things up, I like Danny, but he makes excuses. Well, his response is, well, I would have handled it differently. That is not an appropriate response. You know, and if it was Barack Obama or a Democrat that was up there doing that, Danny Tarkanian would have a fit. And Danny's I'm not trying to single him out. A lot of Republicans like Danny that are Trump apologists. When Donald Trump does something that is embarrassing for the country, like what happened at this rally, you need to call him out on it. And a response by Republicans saying, well, I don't agree with it. I would have handled it differently. But let's talk about Hillary Clinton. That is not an appropriate reaction.
Right. Yeah. As far as this whole Colorado shooting, I thought I heard... And I don't know if either of you have heard this, that one of the parents wrote a letter to somebody at the school warning them that something was going to happen. But I have not seen more on this since I heard that one story. Have either of you heard that story?
I haven't. I think we're going to have to learn more as details come out. I'm not sure. But what we do know is it's another tragedy. It's another horrific tragedy where these two deranged individuals went into a school, shot up a bunch of innocent people. One hero died, and it seems to be happening on a regular basis. And it's really getting to a point now where something needs to be done. There's a lot of things that need to be done, and Republicans and Democrats need to come together.
There needs to be a national protocol of some sort.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Put together for these parents who, when they purchase a gun, if they have children, as well as a severe punishment for those that don't end up killing themselves.
Yeah.
And I think JD made a good point. It's the kid is unruly. Pacify him, give him drugs. This happens a lot from what I know of what's going on out there. And the drugs have, an effect on, especially, these are growing minds. These are maturing individuals. Their bodies are changing. So who knows, indirectly what's going on with them. But the other thing that I have to fault is, so the parents locked up these guns. The kids somehow knew where they were, but the kids somehow probably were instructed how to use those guns, too.
At some point, they had to be. You're right. That's a very good point.
You can learn how to use a gun on YouTube, though. You can teach yourself.
Well, you can show them how to pull a trigger, and but you have to go out and practice.
Right. And here's the unfortunate thing about it, though. Those kids probably were never labeled as mentally ill. I'm guessing here. I'm guessing that's the case. And the parents probably never got them help. I'm guessing, okay? Mm-hmm. And if that's the case, they were allowed to shoot guns.
Or the parents were prominent, and they didn't want the news out there that their children were mentally ill.
Unless you're so far on the right that you're falling over, I think we all can agree something needs to be done about the gun control. Something needs to be done about mental illness. I am so sick of the NRA. All they want to do is make a profit. They don't care about anything else. and it is disgusting. I think it is the CEO of Dick's Sporting Goods, if I'm not mistaken. I could be. I think it was Dick's Sporting Goods. He used to sell a bunch of AR-15s and all these automatic weapons, right?
Yep.
And let me tell you something. That guy, maybe I should call him a hero. The guy's got a lot of money, but you know why I'm going to call him a hero? Because he was willing to take a $150 million loss to do the right thing. To me, that's a hero, and that's somebody stepping up for what's right. What about all these other shops that are continuing to sell these weapons? This guy from Dick's Sporting Goods should be made an example of. And you know what? I'm happy to give him free publicity, and let's talk about Dick's Sporting Goods because they deserve it. They deserve it.
In this case, it was handguns. They weren't automatic weapons. But really, what does a civilian in the United States need an automatic weapon for?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you're hunting, you're cheating. So what else do you need it for?
Yeah, but a handgun, I mean, I can see, have one gun, to defend yourself just in case type of thing.
Right.
But all these automatics. Now, the other thing is you hit on the bullying thing. Unfortunately, what happens sometimes in schools is that, parents are told, hey, your son's bullying or your daughter's bullying or whatever else. And the teachers very often are kind of put in a corner, Yeah. The parents will only accept so much. If this was a fairly affluent arrangement, it was probably a very sensitive situation, and I hate to use that word.
Yeah.
But, the school's looking at the profits. These parents are paying a lot for the tuition, and they have to be a little bit more mellow about this.
And it might be a situation where the parents, if they were affluent, they didn't pay attention to either their son or their daughter, and they were doing whatever they could to lash out by making their hair black and purple and threatening people or whatever it was.
Yeah. You would think
there's a lot of
would
circumstances.
notice the color.
Exactly.
You would think that, but
and I would guess that parents like that would definitely put their kids on an Adderall or a Xanax. I really think that there's definitely something to the medications.
If I had,
you don't know how they're going to react.
If I had an opportunity, I'd dye my hair pink, but unfortunately, Marge, I don't have that opportunity because I don't have any hair. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate
Thanks
it.
for the call, Marge.
Thank you for the call. Let me talk real quickly about AR-15s. Okay, I don't think people realize this. These types of weapons were built back in the day. You know why they were built? They were built back in the day for mass casualties in war. It was built. And now the excuse you get from the people that are selling these weapons are, well, it's for hunting. It's a hunting weapon. That is complete and utter nonsense. These weapons are built for one reason: mass casualties. You know what happens to an AR-15 to the bullet when it enters your body? It explodes inside of your body like a grapefruit. Okay? Like a grapefruit.
There's a reason that in Halo, that's the first weapon that you have, is the static firing AR-15.
But the NRA apologists, that's what they are. The politicians that the NRA in their back pocket are going to say, oh, it's for hunting. That's what it is. It's for gaming and hunting. That's exactly what it's for. No, it's not.
What they're going to say is it's for protecting yourself against
it's nonsense.
Some type of militia or...
It's insane.
The government trying to take your guns from you, whatever the circumstances are.
Well, but no doubt about it. An AR-15, those types of weapons should be used by law enforcement and for our good people who are heroes fighting, whether it's ISIS or overseas fighting a war. That's the bottom line. But anyway, we can talk about gun control all day, But to me, this is just this story. Every single damn week, it's another innocent person or people dying. It's a synagogue shooting. It's a school shooting. I am getting tired of it. And as Americans, we should be tired. It's got to stop.
And what are all these shootings getting?
What do you mean?
They're getting attention.
They are getting attention, and I don't think that's a bad thing, but I'm not sure it's helping either.
The people that are shooting want that. They want the attention.
Yeah. I guess.
They're craving it.
All right, 257-5396. You're right about that. I agree with that. Brady is next on the Vegas Take. Brady, thanks for calling in. What's on your mind?
Hey, what's up, Brady?
Yeah, I have a problem with why are you classifying every gun that has been known to man as an assault weapon?
When did I say every single gun known to man is an assault? When did I say that?
He's just saying AR-15s and AK-47s.
Yeah, I never.
AR-15. AR-15 is made in like 20 different calibers.
Okay, so you don't think
ban every caliber that the AR-15 is made in?
Mm-hmm. So you don't think we should do anything about gun control?
Brady, do you think that the average civilian should have an AR-15 with hollow point bullets?
If you're a hunter, yes.
If you're a hunter.
If you're a hunter.
And how do you classify that?
Because the AR-15 has been used for many, many years now as a sporting rifle, as a hunting rifle.
Right, and I agree with that.
Can I also add to that, though? For many, many years, it's also been used to kill a bunch of innocent people, but I don't hear you talking about that.
Now, what about an AK-47, Brady?
An AK-47, that's a weapon that was been used from the Russian and way back into World War II, and you want to classify that as the same as a AR-15, right? Is that where you're going with that?
He's asking you.
No, it's an automatic weapon.
It's a semi-automatic weapon. You better correct yourself.
Okay, well, let's see if we could correct you, Brady, all right? Let's try to have a conversation here. All these shootings that happen, okay, on a weekly basis, it seems like we're talking about these shootings. It usually is a very similar weapon, usually an AR-15 that is used. So let me ask you a question. Since you are defending, it seems, these types of weapons, you don't think we should do anything as far as gun control goes? You don't think we should change any laws at all? You're totally okay with all these weapons out there?
I'm not okay with every weapon out there.
Okay, so let's talk about that.
You're looking at one side of the picture.
No, I'm not.
I'm looking at one.
You're right. I'm looking. Yeah, you're right. I'm looking at the side of the picture of innocent children and our children that are dying every day. Yeah, you're right. I'm so sorry to be looking at that side of the picture. Please tell me why I'm wrong at looking at that.
You're not looking at the point that all these people that were on psychotropic drugs that.
How do you know? How do you know?
I do think that medication and drugs like that are definitely part of the equation, but they still have to get access to those guns.
You know that those kids that did this shooting in Aurora were on drugs? Because you must know more than the investigators.
Yes, they were.
Okay.
Did you see that? Did you see that result today?
How about the shooting how about the movie shooting in Aurora? How about the last 10 school shootings that we've had? How about the guy that walked into a synagogue? How about the guy that walked into a church? They're all on drugs? I think you're on drugs if you think that. Quite frankly, with all due respect.
You better look up the last one, because the last one that just happened in Colorado, they were all on drugs.
I just named you about 10 other shootings. Why don't you address all the other shootings? I just named you 10 other shootings. So don't tell me what you think I better do. I think you better.
10 other shootings?
Okay, here's what you should do, okay? Here's what you should do. You better have some compassion for the innocent people that lose their lives every day. Why don't you have compassion for that, Brady? God, I'm so sick of people like Brady that call into this show and they want to defend every single one of these weapons that are used. Yes, I get it. It's the people that fire the weapon. I get it. Those are the people that we should hold responsible. But to put no responsibility on the gun owners, to put no responsibility on the NRA is completely and utterly insane. And that man has absolutely no compassion for people. And I have no tolerance for people like that. Okay, go make love to your AK-47 tonight in bed, because I bet you're not lying next to a woman tonight. That's for sure. 257-5396 is the number to call. Let's go to Ron. Ron, what's up?
Hey, Brian. How you
That was
doing?
aggressive, Brian.
Here's your good friend, opposite. But
What's up?
Listen, can you allow me to school you like you school me? Because I've learned a lot from you, and I was just wondering if I could, if that would be okay. Could I?
I'll tell you. I'll answer. Let me answer that question like this. First of all, I appreciate the compliment. I will give you an opportunity to share your opinion with me, but I'm not going to label it as you schooling me. Is that fair?
Well, you school me, and I've learned some things from you, so I'm going to admit what it is.
Well, you know what? I will open myself up to you right now, and maybe you will teach me something. But that last guy really pissed me off, Ron. Okay?
Yeah, I didn't agree with him, too.
Okay, good. Okay. Go ahead, Ron. The floor is yours.
Hey, I'm fair. I'm a fair person.
I know you are, Ron.
The rounds that you're speaking about that blow up like grapefruits, you're absolutely right, but those are NATO rounds. Okay, the rounds that the 226s and the 5.65s that they manufacture today are meant to mushroom, okay, or go right through. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's the difference. But they were made. You were right. They were made for major casualties. But like I said, that was the NATO rounds that they made for the AR-15s and the M16s and similar firearms like that. But today's rounds are specifically for either sporting or a hunting round, and that's why people do say, and it does. I have to say, it does. My AR-15 is an excellent hunting rifle, but that's all I use it for, and maybe target practice.
But you're responsible. But you're a responsible gun owner, Ron. You're not a murderer. There are a lot of whack jobs out there.
Yeah, I do believe that we don't need 30 rounds.
Right.
I mean, maybe I do believe that. I have to agree with you on quite a bit. But anyway, I'm still willing to be schooled by you.
Ron, I always appreciate when you call in. I think we agree more than we disagree on this issue, and you sound like a compassionate, logical individual. I'm okay with you having these types of guns, but the problem is we allow them on the streets. You're going to get in the hands of the wrong people. Ron, thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate it.
Great call, Ron.
Yeah. I wanted to share a quick story before we let you go. JD knows a little bit about this. So Michael Avenatti, as you know, was on our show a few days ago, and thanks to JD, did a great job getting him. Was a fantastic guest. And he hits us up on Twitter today, and he wants to have a debate with this guy named Mike Davis. This guy, Mike Davis, is way on the right. He's the former chief of the United States Senate Committee on Judiciary, and he was part of the Kavanaugh hearings and all that stuff. And these guys have been going at it for years.
I believe he actually represented Kavanaugh.
I believe he did, yes.
He did.
So these guys have been going at it for years, right? And they want to have a debate. So Michael Avenatti said he has agreed to come in studio and have a debate with this guy. And I've had several people, prominent people, a couple attorneys, that have been willing to donate upwards to 6 figures to go to charity if this guy, Mike Davis, decides to debate Michael Avenatti on this show. And Avenatti's already agreed to everything. He'll either do it in studio or on the phone. This guy Davis has yet to respond, even though he did say earlier today that he'll debate him anywhere, any time. But it appears as though Mike Davis is scared. It appears as though Mike Davis is a coward. So I would call out Mike Davis, and I would find him on Twitter and find out why he's not responding, why he doesn't want to. That's what I don't understand about this whole thing. Want to squeeze in one more call? We only got about...
Especially if $100,000 or $200,000 are going to a charity.
Yeah, it's
and if you believe you're in the right, then what do you have to lose?
Exactly. What do you have to
Mike,
lose?
do you want us to cover your plane ticket?
Yeah, exactly.
Is that what you're looking for?
We'll cover his plane ticket for sure. Let's go to Scott. Scott, I got a couple minutes. Go ahead, Scott.
What's up, Scotty?
Yeah, how you doing there?
Good. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I don't believe anyone needs an AR-15 or an AKA, whatever. I don't care.
Hallelujah.
You know, but what we need in this country is public executions, like Clint Eastwood's movie Hang 'em High. Get them all up there on the gallows and let everyone, the whole country, watch these scumbags drop through the trap door and dance at the end of a
Hey, Scott, I like you a lot. Are you a Game of Thrones fan?
Am I what?
Are you a Game of Thrones fan?
A game of what?
He doesn't know what that is. He doesn't know what you're talking about, JD. Scott, let me ask you another question. Are you running for president? Because if you are, I will vote for you.
Oh, my God.
I will.
How about Brian, how about a guillotine? That's always fun. But when the head comes off, the guy can pull up the head and the out of the basket and have that televised all over.
That's a little.
They can do it in football stadiums.
That's a little graphic, but I will be serious, Scott, and I will say this. And by the way, I do appreciate the call. Thank you very much. I understand where you're coming from.
It was a very medieval conversation.
Yeah, I will say this though. If you kill an innocent person, and I'm talking about premeditated murder, I don't care what type of murder it is, I am okay with the death penalty. I am okay with it.
Well, not only that, but say another student had brought a gun to school to protect themselves. What happens to that student?
Yeah,
they're suspended. They're expelled.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're at a total massive advantage.
Yeah.
And these young kids that are just going to school to learn because they're literally forced to go to school and learn, they have no chance against you.
No chance at all. And I think like-minded individuals, if you're not way to the left or way to the right, I think most people agree with what we're talking about when it comes to gun violence. We'll continue this on Monday. We got a lot of fun people coming up, a lot of great guests next week. But, hey, Ken Thompson's got a great one. He's got Rudy Rudiger coming up. So stay tuned for that, folks. Thanks so much for joining us. Check us out on our Twitter page, @TheVegasTake. It's been a fun week. Everybody have a safe weekend. Thanks for joining us on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM KDWN.